Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to Football Discussions. Today, we're coming at you with another 7-round team mock draft. Today, we're going with the Miami Dolphins. They have a ton of draft capital. 2 second-round picks, 3 first-round picks, I think 3 fifth-round picks, a third, fourth, and like 2 sevenths, I think. So it's a packed draft. A lot of stuff is going to go down. One point I wanted to make is how I'm doing these is the ideal situation for this team, right? So obviously it's really hard to predict this, but I'd go through a mock draft simulator, and the players that are available or around near available are the players that I choose, and the players that I think are going to be best available for the Dolphins. So that's how I've been doing this. That's how I did the Broncos one. I've seen a lot of Broncos fans enjoy that one. Hopefully you Dolphins fans like this one. But like I said, the Dolphins have a ton of capital, so let's get right into it, starting off with their first pick, and that's going to be the 5th overall pick in the draft, and that's going to be Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback out of Alabama. I'm sure they're fine with getting their hands on Justin Herbert as well. However, I think that reports came out last week that there was a lot of controversy across the NFL on who's better, Tua or Herbert. So I think it's really a toss-up there. But if the Dolphins aren't going to trade up, I think it's more likely that Tua falls into their lap. So I have them going with Tua at 5. Up next, I have the Dolphins taking Xavier McKinney, the safety out of Alabama. Reason being is that, the top tackles in this class probably aren't going to be available at 18. Andrew Thomas will probably go to the Bucks or the Broncos. We could see Jedrick Wills going in the top 10. We could see Mekhi Becton going in the top 10 or 11 to the Jets. We could see Tristan Wirfs going into the top 11 as well. So I don't think the tackles will be available. And also, this is literally Minkah Fitzpatrick. I love Xavier McKinney. He has the exact same tool set as Minkah Fitzpatrick. Great tackler, great in coverage, great in man. He played nickelback at Alabama and can come down in the box. So I think he's a very versatile player. And obviously they traded away Minkah. And while, it is actually a, sneakily deep safety class, I think that they'll take McKinney here as he's going to be the best player for them at 18. At 26 is kind of a luxury pick, because I think the Dolphins did a really good job at addressing edge in free agency with Shaq Lawson, Emmanuel Ogbah, and Kyle Van Noy. But getting another player on that front of your defensive line, because obviously Van Noy plays linebacker, and then Ogbah plays linebacker, then Lawson's on the actual defensive line. I think bringing in Epenesa to go, you could have Wilkins, Epenesa, and Lawson all on the field at once with Ogbah and Van Noy as well. I think that's going to be a really solid fit for this Dolphins defense, and I think they can play that very well and get a lot of pressure. So I like the pick a lot for the Dolphins if they're able to get their hands on Epenesa at 26. At 39, obviously, they addressed some of their offensive line needs with getting Eric Flowers, but they didn't address all of them. Offensive tackle is still needed, and Austin Jackson would be a solid pick here in the second round with their first pick in the second round. I think Austin Jackson's a really good talent from USC. He had some first-round hype. He still has some first-round hype. We could see his name called in like the bottom 5 or 7 picks of that first round, but I do think he'll tumble into the second round just because there's so much talent in this draft that teams are going to be looking for other positions. So if the Dolphins are able to get their hands on him or Josh Jones, I would think that's a success for the Dolphins in the second round. With their second pick of the second round, this is pick 56 in the draft, I had them going running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, you might have wanted them to go running back earlier with Taylor, Dobbins, and DeAndre Swift all on the board, but by signing Jordan Howard, what that tells me is that they're not looking for an every down back, because Jordan Howard really is that. He's had consistent 1,000-yard seasons up until last year. We saw it with the Bears. He played very well. So I think that Jordan Howard can get one first down, second down, and then Edwards-Helaire is probably the best receiving back in this class. So having that mixture on that offense can make it really easy for a young quarterback like Tua to play in this offense. So I think it's a solid pick getting Edwards-Helaire at 56. In the third round, pick 70, I have them going Tyler BIADASZ out of Wisconsin. BIADASZ is really an underrated player in my mind. He kind of fell. He was a borderline first-round player for a very long time, and then it felt like right as the season was coming to an end, we saw BIADASZ fall down draft boards. I still think BIADASZ is a good player. He can play center, he can play guard. He's done both at Wisconsin, so I think it would be a really solid pick for the Dolphins to address the other side of their interior offensive line. And a player that could either rotate right away or start right away. I think BIADASZ is that good, so I'm a fan of his, and I think it would be a good pick for the Dolphins. In the fourth round, obviously, We saw Preston Williams play really well last year, and Devontae Parker obviously had a breakout year, but Kenny Stills is no longer on the team. Jakeem Grant is like okay. Alan Hearns is okay, but getting a solid slot receiver in Antonio Gandy-Golden that can rotate in right away, I think that's a really good pick for them in the 4th round. Golden went to Liberty, small school, not a big. Or he isn't a well-known household name, but I think Gandy-Golden definitely is a talent, and I think he could definitely make an impact on the Dolphins offense right away. So obviously through the first 4 rounds of the draft, you already see the Dolphins getting impact players in this draft, and I think that's exactly what they want to do. They don't want to get guys that are going to sit. They want to get guys that can play right away, and like I said, through the first 4 rounds in this mock draft, they've done that. And again, this is so hard to predict, so this is definitely so far from what's going to happen. But again, this is the ideal situation. Back-to-back picks here for the Dolphins at 153 and 154 in the 5th round. First, I have them going to TRAJAN Bandy, cornerback out of Miami, keeping him local. I think that Bandy could be a special teams player. He has really good speed. And honestly, at Miami, he's made good plays, across the board. He's been good in man coverage consistently. I think that with growth and development, he might even become a rotational cornerback at one time in Miami. But for right now, I think he could be a really solid special teams player. Definitely fast enough to return kicks. So maybe we see him in that role, but a player that can make an impact. Up next, we have SHAQ, the linebacker out of Miami. So 2 Miami guys, keeping them local in Miami. Back-to-back here. SHAQ is a guy that I've heard 4th round grade, 5th round grade. Obviously, he's a consistent tackler. We've seen that. He's a stat patter. He gets so many tackles for that Miami defense. He's been that Miami defense's leader for a really long time. However, Quarterman cannot cover to save his life. His cover skills are lacking, and I think that's what's turning coaches and organizations away from him, but definitely a 4th round player in my mind. I've seen a lot of drafts and a lot of reports that he's going to fall to the 5th round. So if the Dolphins were able to scoop him up here, I think that'd be a really solid fit. And then eventually maybe you could have Raekwon McMillan, Jerome Baker, and SHAQ all starting at one time. And I think that would be a good place for the Miami linebacking, a really young linebacking core to be. With their 3rd pick in the 5th round at 173, I have them going Justin Herron, offensive tackle out of Wake Forest. Don't know much about him, but from what I was reading before, he's a good run blocker, not the best pass blocker. Definitely not going to be a starter on this offense, but maybe can become a rotational player. At 6, I have the Dolphins getting another tight end, Dalton Keene, out of Virginia Tech. Obviously, Mike Gesicki is who they're looking at to become, a really good starter for them. I think Dalton Keene is a good blocker. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife for Virginia Tech. They really used him everywhere, but if they were able to nab him in the 6th round, it's almost like a why not pick, because the Dolphins have already addressed so many needs throughout this draft that I think they could really, be able to get the guys that they want, not the guys that they need here at the end of the draft. Going along with that, now they're going to get a wide receiver and offensive weapon, Kendrick Rogers, out of Texas A&M. He's a talented player. I think he brings a lot to the table for Miami in his size and speed. However, his catching wasn't always consistent at A&M. I don't think he'll be a starter in this league. However, maybe you can use him on special teams. Maybe he can rotate into the lineup once in a while. But I think that it would be a steal of a pick here in the 7th round. And it is such a deep wide receiver class that we might see guys like Kendrick Rogers, who might be like a 5th round pick in another draft class, or even a 4th round pick, falling to the 7th round. That's how deep this class is. Up next, at 246, we have the Dolphins going TYRIE Phillips, the interior offensive lineman out of Mississippi State. Just addressing the offensive line even more, I was reading that he has good size and speed, just not the best blocker, which is kind of what you need at the offensive line position. But I think if the Dolphins are looking to just beef up their offensive line even more, have guys that can fill in roles, I think TYRIE Phillips is a fine pick. And then to wrap up the Dolphins draft, I have them going Khalil Tate, the quarterback out of Arizona. Obviously, they already addressed quarterback, but it doesn't feel like Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be on the roster next year. So they're going to need a backup, and Khalil Tate can be that. Not that he's the best throwing quarterback, but in the fact that you can put him at running back, you can even put him at wide receiver. He has good size, so I think he can really be a Swiss Army knife for this Dolphins team to use and really play him at any position. Can maybe become a Taysom Hill type player because he's just a freak athlete. So I think it's a fun pick for Miami to wrap up this draft. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's edition of my Team 7-round mock. If you like these, please leave likes and comments to let me know, because it will incentivize me to make more, obviously. I don't know if I'm going to do a consistent series through this. I'll probably do the teams that, have the most draft capital, or the teams that have the most need. So you could expect to see like the Bengals, the Giants, those type of teams coming up. So if you do want to see that, again, let me know. And take it easy, guys. Peace.